A great networking session. So before we jump into the session, I want to make an introduction to Aldo. For Aldo, Al and actually met and I met at the conference about 2 years ago. I'm pretty excited with, when he shared about his concept about marrying his short-term rental and multifamily. So a little bit of background of Al, though. He took like about 2 engineering degrees. He also involved in repairing San Francisco Bay Bridge and 22 years of landlord experience for Al Williamson to become the world's first landlord scientist. And now he's used his engineering skill to help investors like you to make more money. Al is best known for publicly optimizing his 8-unit apartment complex to the point where it replaced his salary and gave him a financial freedom. Known as a father of the extended stay Airbnb industry, Al has taught thousands of people how to optimize their net incomes by focusing on longer than 30-day stays. Al now spends his days growing his corporate housing company in Sacramento, California, where he lives with his wife and 2 daughters. Without further ado, please help me welcome the world's first landlord scientist, Al Williamson. Welcome, Al.
Hey, thank you so much. Man, I love hearing all that. And I think about, I have one other house in college now. I'm like, oh my goodness, how things change. Hey, I'm gonna try to share my screen here and see how we do. See if I can do it. Here we go. I don't know if let me press the green button. There we go. There we are.
Yep, looks good.
Okay. All right. It's good to have a few faces on. I need someone to turn the cameras on so I have a live audience. So I know if I'm not the only one laughing at my jokes. But I'm gonna turn my screen down for a second here so that for the recording. Hey, thanks for having me here. Let's talk about how to amplify your profits and your property values so you can earn more money from what you already own. I always love to talk about that. I'm really excited because some great news about these extended stay rentals I'm gonna be sharing with you about. This came out from the Business Travel News. Just in August 16th of this year, it says that extended stay demand is at a record high. It's fully recovered from the whole COVID and 2020 issues. So that's great. And now, before I dive into all this, let me show you some properties so you can see the profits that we're talking about that you could be making when you get involved with this thing. This is that 8-unit apartment that I have. This is my experimental apartment building. I've owned it for a bit now, and I'm really grateful. It brings in a profit after expenses of $8,858 a month, and that's what allowed me to walk away from my engineering job. So I like small portfolios, but the units actually need to be profitable. So I love small, very profitable portfolios. That's my thing. Now, I took my corporate housing skills and I started working with other landlords to expand and started a corporate housing company. So I just work with this landlord. I get the actual unit under lease, and then I turn into a corporate housing unit, and it brings in a profit of $832 a month. And remember, no down payment or anything like that, just a lease agreement and up and going. Same with this little mom and pop landlord. Told him what I was doing, showed him my clientele. It brings in $887 a month. This, another in Midtown Sacramento. One of the 16 units here is in a great location, brings in $728 a month. And this complex is nice gated complex with a management company. We actually have 2 here, but each one of them brings in about $862 a month. Here's a little cottage in an area. It's a standalone, way in the back of the parcel. It's my worst performer, $470 a month. My best performer is half of this duplex. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath. It brings in $1,643 a month after expenses in the bank. Remember, I don't have I don't have to worry about maintenance. That goes to the landlord. So I love protected cash flow. I started coaching some people, and this is a guy named Derek. He's also in Sacramento area. He rents this upstairs unit, brings him a profit of $522, which is not a lot, but he used that directly on his credit cards. He wants to be debt free. So that's accelerating him there. Rochelle's in Reno, and she's just within throw stone of hot August nights at car show. And that comes once a year. And if this little place brings her a profit of $900 a month, she doesn't own it, no down payment, just simply controls it, master leases it, and does corporate housing. It's the way you use it. Here's Appleton, Tim in Appleton. He got up and going with $1,000 a month up in Appleton. It's all we're taking advantage of the difference between the rental industry and the hospitality industry, jumping markets and grabbing all that cash flow that's in between there waiting for you. So here we go. Stick around with me, stick to the end, because I'm going to help you discover what this new value add hacks are to double your profits. So it's going to be worth it. Stick around. And a secret lesson that you may not know that was always embedded in the game Monopoly. And once you implement it, it's going to permanently increase your bank account balance. That's good news. And how anyone can do this with zero down payment. You don't have to worry about getting a bank loan, and you don't need any real estate experience, because we're talking about something that's absolutely new. We're not talking about landlording. We're talking about something that's different. You know, this is the saying that you may know everything about cooking. You may be a master chef, but that doesn't make you a master gardener. It's a different thing. So you also may be thinking, I'm just talking about Airbnb, but that's just a piece of what I'm talking about. Here's my actual sales funnel. You see all this activity in the marketing, getting people to see where I am, but I like Google the best, because Google gets 95% of the internet traffic. So you got to have a Google strategy, and it brings them through to my webpage. And then I have a conversation email, or my assistants will, a consultation to help them pick the right place that also minimizes all of our vacancies. And we send them a web link of what we recommend to them, and then we intake them. So that's our process, completely free of Airbnb. We are not reliant on Airbnb. So what we're talking about, if you are an Airbnb host, keep doing that, but I need you to open up a new page and look at this, all the differences here. So my name is Al Williamson. I'm usually up on stage. I'm getting back out there. I think I got a trip to Nashville coming up. And I'm always talking about how landlords can increase their income and reduce their expenses. That is it. And I wrote this book called 40 Ways to Increase the Net Income of Your Rental Property. And if you have it's like what, $20 or something like that on Amazon. And it's directly, if you're a multifamily owner, you know, if you can increase your net income, you increase the value of your property. So it is definitely worthwhile to get. Now, here's a big revelation. It may sound silly, but this was a huge revelation to me, was that my cash flow, which was what I was trying to get from all my properties, is just the difference between my income and expenses. And let's talk about this. I'm gonna bring some pictures up. You guys, I want to see you guys nod your heads here or not, because we can't really do much more unless we agree on this. It's the difference between your cash flow, your net income is the difference between your income and expenses. Would you guys agree with that? Head nods. Now, here's the important thing that I want to pin down. It has nothing to do with if you own real estate or not. If you own the property, or if you master lease it, has nothing to do with if it's stucco building, where it's located, or anything. It has everything to do with income and expenses. Would you guys agree? We need to get that. Doesn't matter what the ownership is. Does not matter what the ownership is. It's income, expenses for cash flow. Now, this cash flow is what brings you the lifestyle that we're looking for. Is that brings you the lifestyle benefits. Oops, I went too far. And if this is what you can actually do inside your retirement accounts, you can actually work out, build up your self-directed retirement account with the lease agreement, because there's no recourse loans and you're not violating any of those requirements. So I'll talk to you guys about that later. And it's going to buy you time freedom. That's what's really like, so that you can spend the time doing what you were meant to do. And that feels really good. It's a good way to spend your life. Okay, so I have 28 units, furnished rentals that I'm responsible for marketing for. My team is now in Sacramento, California. So we like to cluster. We don't go all over the state. It's very efficient. There's all kinds of efficiencies that we get by clustering in one location. And I've trained thousands of people since 2014. So I've been at it for a while, but it wasn't always this easy. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a little bit because this is really important. So I'm a civil engineer, and that's the type that builds bridges and roadways and dams and things like that. And I had some cool projects like putting solar panels on Alcatraz. That was a super cool project, looking at the Golden Gate for 2 years. And I had some work in Yosemite, working on some structures that help bats come and go. That was a lot of fun. But the rest of the time, I'm just pretty bored. It wasn't that much. I was in safety trainings all the time, hearing it over and over and over again. All super nerd sessions with guys with all the sound effects in PowerPoint, like death by PowerPoint, literally. So I am not going to be using sound effects today. I can't believe that. And I just felt like, hey, there's more that I want to do. And every year I had this point of clarity that I was off track. It was my job performance review. My boss would ask me, so Al, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where are you going to be in 5 years? And I'd like, no, I don't want your life. I don't want your job. I'm off track. But I wouldn't say that. I had to tell a lie because I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't have a bulletproof plan on what else I was going to do, but I knew I was an entrepreneur. I knew I wasn't doing the right thing. So, but I had to pay for healthcare. I had a family, had responsibilities. So I really felt stuck. And I started, commuting. I was repairing the San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge Tower. I was in charge of the materials for that. And I was stress eating. So I gained a lot of weight. Now, I'm a Black guy, as you can see. My full name is Albert. And I was getting fat. So they were calling me Fat Albert at work. That's like my all-time low, So it was true as well. So I wasn't happy. I was overworked, overweight, and I had this impressive job title, impressive position, high profile, but I knew I was a complete failure as a dad. I was in these long commutes. I had barely spent any time with my little girl. She was like 6 or 7, so couldn't remember playing with her, couldn't remember laughing with her. So I didn't feel successful at all. And I remember one year, my wife asked me why we couldn't go on vacation. We had all these rentals. Al, why can't we go on vacation? I was telling her, it's because we have all these rentals. I was using my engineering salary to compensate for the maintenance expenses that are associated with all the rentals. Maintenance can wipe out your whole cash flow for that year. A paint job, take it all away. So I was compensating. So I said, I got to rethink this. So I started researching. That's how I wrote the book, because this was not working out, and landlords were not telling the truth about what to expect. Maintenance costs, reserves cost, and that can cause you to spiral. So I started pinning up landlords at conferences, hired mentors, and got to the point where we found something that worked. And it was like too good to be true. And it started with Airbnb in 2015. They came up with a category called business travel ready, where you set aside a unit. You couldn't share it any longer. It wasn't that bed and breakfast model that I was using, especially when I was in San Francisco and taking care of Alcatraz for 2 years back in 2011, 2012. I was Airbnb and hopping all around. I was right there when Airbnb was taking off. And I love being a guest. I love being a guest. People were bringing me cookies. They were doing all kinds of stuff for me, but I did not want to be a host because it was just too much work. All the turn, I didn't want that. I didn't want to share my spot with anybody. So 2015, Business Travel Ready came out, and I said, cool. And I set up a place out of my Aplex that you saw. And then 3 months, three turns per month, I doubled my income, which is cool, but I was kind of worn out. I kind of had a sense of panic. It wasn't something, I didn't like all the turns. I liked the money, Then I got a longer stay request for a month, and I saw that after everything was done, I didn't need extra insurance. I didn't need to come and check the unit for my between my cleaners. I was much more relaxed, and my net income was about the same as with when I was doing the 3 times per month. It was a little bit less, but about the same. Then I got a 3 month stay from a traveling nurse request, and I saw that I didn't have. I always say my time is worth at least the same amount as a handyman, $35 an hour. Okay, so if to compare apples and apples, I had to pay myself. I deserve time. I deserve compensation, but I have to leave my family. So I found that, hey, this longer term stay was actually more profitable on a net income basis without the hassle. So I started focusing on extended stays, and that is what actually allows me to make a really good cash flow. And I was able to quickly leave my job because my 8-unit building was covering my expenses. I didn't need to make that commute anymore. And I was able to spend time, actually a classroom dad. So I was in the classroom with my daughter now, doing the spelling test now, having her friends say, I wish my dad was around, on the playground playing Foursquare with them. So that's what I'm sharing with you. This extended stay rentals I'm sharing with you, it's just not a little thing to me. It's not just a little hobby or a cute little thing. It means it's giving me a whole quality of life that I wanted. That's why I went to school. That's why 2 master's degrees, to get cash flows so I could take care of my family and be with my family. But extended stay rentals did it for me. My engineering degree, it helped, but it didn't do it for me. It took me in the direction away from my family. So that's why I'm here. I want to share with you guys the benefits that this has brought me. And it's a privilege to be able to share with people and have them turn in their resignation letters and live the lifestyle. So I wanted you to know the backdrop before I get into all this. I want you to know this is really, really important to me. And I want to share it with you. Here, let me get back to my screen. See if I can not lose my spot. Okay, let me jump down. Okay, so here's the status update. What's happened all during this COVID thing? The status report was headline after headline that extended stay, longer term stays was a winner when all the tourist stuff stopped, when all the conventions stopped. There were still essential workers traveling. So much so, the CEO of Airbnb himself came out and said, if you want to stay alive, if you don't want to sell your furniture on the sidewalk, basically, you got to do month-long stays. That's the only thing that's profitable in these turbulent times, okay? And I have been saying that for years. I've been saying, this is recession-proof because we serve essential workers, because even when travel's restricted, there's still a demand for project work, emergency healthcare services, and government contracts. Those things continue. Plumbers are needed. You can't let a septic line go. You're an essential worker, as well as the nurses. That's where these essential workers stay at these extended stay hotels. Do you guys see any of these in your neighborhood? Someone's chime in. Do you recognize any of these brands?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, these are national brands of hotels with kitchenettes in them. Started in the 70s by Marriott. They started with a Residence Inn, and it's just grown and grown in popularity. So much so that 1 out of every 4 buildings that these large hotel chains build out is an extended stay with a hotel in it. I mean, with a kitchenette in it. Here's a snapshot. I did a Google Maps. You have them all over the Bay Area. Mostly Extended Stay America, which is the largest extended stay hotel chain in the United States, Extended Stay America. And during COVID, you can see that the national emergency was called in March 2020. And this is the occupancy in Extended Stay America nationwide. And it had an all-time low in April. Now their goal is 8 out of 10 rooms filled at all the time. That's their goal. And they were doing that before March, but it took a drop in April, to 6 out of 10. And then it quickly rebounded because essential workers brings them need these places. And they went on to make a $96 million profit in 2020, one of the few segments that to make any profit out of the hospitality industry. So I was saying it was recession proof, but now we know it's virus proof too. But so what? So what? We got all these smartphones, we got essential workers, we got laptops, smart watches, you know. Is that having an effect on real estate? Absolutely. Absolutely. I was talking to a friend of mine. He is the number 3 in charge of the high-speed rail authority for that high-speed rail that's so controversial. And he's in charge of the financing. And he said he had a meeting with all his contractors, and he's told them not to get rid of their offices. He's not going to pay for their leases anymore because they're not there. Everyone's working remotely. People are becoming more mobile. They are choosing to live one place and work in a different place. And that's having the effect on real estate. And that's why there's a big demand for extended stay rentals that, the pandemic put us 5 years ahead. Everyone knows they can work remotely now. There's no question about it now. And that's just tapping out a full-time explosion on extended stay rentals. Well, let's take a vote. Who thinks we're becoming more mobile as a country? Anyone think that we're becoming less mobile?
No.
I can't see you guys, but is there anyone going to argue that we're becoming less mobile or more mobile? Well, we're definitely becoming more mobile. But here's the problem. We got this epic change, a permanent change in real estate industry demand. And yet people still think they need to spend tens of thousands of dollars or take a bank loan in order to increase their cash flow. And they may not be able to get a bank loan or want a bank loan, and they may be cash strapped like I was. I know what it's like to have 2 engineering degrees and still and have rentals and be cash strapped. You're waiting for that mortgage to be paid off almost. So here's the thing. It's been taught to us all along. It's been shared with us all along that while every Christmas, Thanksgiving, we're playing Monopoly, right? And we're buying houses, and then what do you do when you get 4 houses? What do you do? Anyone? Chime in. This is where the audience participates. You gotta mute yourself.
You build a hotel. You build a hotel.
Now, why, Travis? Why do you go for a hotel? Why do you do that?
Oh, you're breaking up.
I'm breaking
up. Maybe it's on my side. What was the question?
Why are you trying to get a hotel? What's the reason?
To scale.
It's almost more simple than that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's because the hotels have more cash flow.
Okay. Yes.
Simple as that.
Okay.
Okay. But here's what they're showing you. They're showing they switched from the residential rental market to the hospitality industry because the hospitality industry has more cash flow. It's been taught to us for years. We just kind of been glossing over it. The hospitality industry has more cash flow. That's why you try to get into that industry. Now, here's what has been talked about. I go to the same trainings these people who market for these extended stay hotels. I sit in the same ones when I can. And this is what they talk about when they used to meet at the bars afterwards. They say, housing one person for 30 days is more profitable to our net income than housing 30 people in one night. We don't have the same staffing needs, we don't have the same cleaning needs, there's less damage, it's a different type of person. It's just more profitable to our bottom line. We don't need 30 people to service a hotel, we only need 8. Okay, so inside of the hospitality industry, which is the most profitable section, inside of that industry, there is the extended stay industry, which is the most profitable section of the most profitable industry. So that's why we're talking about extended stays, okay? So here's the solution. It's specialized training for you guys. What if I told you I'm gonna talk to you guys just about the Bay Area? You guys okay with that? And if you're seeking to at least double your net income, because net income is the only thing that matters. I'm not going to talk to you about revenue. A lot of people like to talk about revenue, how much dollars come in. That doesn't really matter. Only what's left at the end of the day matters, and how you can amplify your values. That's what we're going to get ready to do. Let's see. Are you guys on board with that? Real talk, Bay Area, double net income. I'm going to show you how. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so I got 3 keys for you on how to do it. If you want to do it in 30 days, if you want to take your time and do it over a couple of years, I'll have different recommendations for you. But if you want to do it quick, this is what you can do. That's why I kind of tailored my talk to. Is the first thing is to know how corporate housing model works. I want to break that down for you and understand how to instantly know that it's proven, that it's going to work, and that there's no risk to trying it. So you don't have to do any more research, so that you have enough actionable information to actually do something and don't get bogged down in analysis or paralysis. And the third thing is how do you market these things? How do you keep them filled? Because you can buy the Keurig and put it in there. You can buy the 50-inch TV, the best sheets, and put it into your unit. But if you can't market to somebody, if you can't fill the place, you got to pay for it yourself. And that is not how you make money. You make money by having someone else pay you. Okay, let's get right into it. The first key, secret number 1, is how does this whole corporate housing thing work? What's it all about? So as I was a consulting engineer, and it got slow in Sacramento. I thought I was going to be laid off. I just got out of graduate school. I'm like, how in the world? So they said, hey, there's some work in Port Arthur, Texas for Chevron. So I went down there for 6 months stay, doing my consulting thing. I was overseeing construction, doing civil engineering. And at Port Arthur, it always smells oily. It smelled like Benicia Martinez used to smell, that oily refinery, but real thick, real bad. It didn't even have the same pollution controls as in California. So it was like, you could almost taste it. So there's no way to escape it. I was staying at the Holiday Inn, and it was cool for the first month, first week. I was a single guy at the time, back in 95, got married in 96. And I didn't want to open my windows because that smell was all over there, and closed it. And then I couldn't open my windows anyway because they have a clamp shut. And I was just like the walls were closing in on me. 2 weeks into it, I was like, oh, I gotta get it. This is really miserable. I wasn't able to fly home. Fly home just every few, once a couple months, they'll send you home. But I was miserable. And then my HR company reached out to me. My HR department reached out to me and said, hey, we got an offer of up the street. There's an apartment that, would you like to live there? It's about the same cost. In fact, you'll be able to save a little bit of money if you move into this apartment. And, I was like, yes, I'll be there in a heartbeat. I got to get out of this. I want to cook for myself. I don't want to see the same eggs, the same piece of toast for breakfast anymore. I want my own space. I don't want people coming in and cleaning my room and going through my stuff and straight. I just need my own privacy. So that's why I did. I moved over there. Very happy. Now let's talk about what was happening behind the scenes. This is what's killer. That's just what I'm here. So I want to direct your focus, because I wasn't thinking about it. I was just happy. I had a housing allowance. I was able to pocket that. So I have money. I even have food money. So I was happy, especially when I got my own space. But here's behind the scene. Behind the scenes, a different look now. What was going on? It was me, the business traveler, being paid by my employer. Then there was this housing entrepreneur who had reached out to my company, okay, and told them about the deal he made locking up either his apartment complex or someone else's apartment complex. This is the deal maker. This person is the golden goose who has the marketing chops, that created the cash flow, made me happy, makes whoever owns the apartment complex very, very happy, because I was a great guest to have. I was a great tenant, and they got well paid as well. So let's talk about that person, that skill set. Okay. Now here's what's up. Is San Francisco has some special restrictive ordinances for extended stays and for Airbnb, as well as the extended stay industry, as well as corporate housing, okay? All right, so these laws just came out. Even if it's a stay of 30 days and longer, there's a limit. It's limited to 1,000 permits, and they're not just dragging their feet issuing them. All right, so this is the real talk. So if you don't, I want you to read this, is that the limits are in the city. What happens if I step out of the city of San Bruno? What happens, somebody?
Totally different ballgame.
I'm not under these restrictions. It's like taxes, okay? You're either in one tax bracket or you're not, or the other. You follow what I'm saying? If you are in San Francisco, I wouldn't try this. If you step 1 foot over the county line, then do it. All right? You got a world of opportunity around the Bay, but not in San Francisco City. All right? That is the forbidden fruit. You got rest of the Garden of Eden. You don't have to focus on the forbidden tree. You guys with me? You got plenty of opportunity to make this work, but I want to just get that clear right off the bat. Okay, so it's like taxes. Either you're in one tax bracket or you're not. Either you're in the boundaries of San Francisco with these near impossible ordinances that they've written. And they did a lot of research, and they said landlords can make a ton of money if they switch to corporate housing. That's what they concluded. They studied the heck out of it. You can get that report easy. And that's true. They absolutely true. Okay. Hey, I want to talk to you about Alfred Bucci. Alfred is a professor. I like his first part of his name. It sounds like me, Alfred. And he was back when they were making these Model Ts and cars, and he would see them go. He was a fan of the cars, and then he see this black smoke coming out of them, and he's like, man, that's all this hot black smoke coming out. And as engineers, we like to optimize things. We don't like energy escaping machinery. It's like that's extra power that could be used, you know. It drove him crazy. So he focused on it, and he was like, there's got to be something. I got to be able to put that energy to use. So what he was trying to do is if I can bring in more oxygen, then I can make this whole car operate better. You guys, any grill masters out there? Anyone good with the grill? Someone unmute themselves. Anyone know how to barbecue?
I know how to put the meat on the grill. That's it.
Do you?
Yeah, I know the basics.
Okay. If you want the temperature to go up, what do?
You open the flue, you get more air in there.
Okay, so that's
Right.
the same principle with a piston. You want your piston, it lets fuel in, it combustion, it has an explosion. But if you can get more oxygen in, more air in, it's going to burn hotter, better.
Right.
So what Alfred did is he sent that hot air, he sent that to a propeller, and that propeller was connected to another propeller that pushed air into the piston. And he was able to make the whole thing work a lot more efficient. So he captured the wasted potential. That's what he said. He couldn't stand wasted potential being left there in that cycle. And he's like, I need to capture this wasted potential. And that's our question for today. Okay. How can you capture more of your wasted potential? So let's break it down. The benefits of that, bringing that oxygen in, of capturing that potential, was there's more horsepower. All right. The same car could climb a hill easier because of Alfred's turbocharger. That's what he called it. Bringing that air in turbocharges the engine. All right. The same, it doesn't cost any more. It's just using that technology to make it burn brighter. And then he said it actually got more miles to the gallon. The same engine capturing that wasted potential did. And that's good to your bottom line, yeah? More miles to the gallon. And that also means you don't have to go to the gas station as often or as frequently. That saves you time. I hope I didn't lose you guys with this nerdiness. But here, let me tell you why that's important here. Is these extended stay rentals that I'm sharing with you guys, it's the same thing. It allows you to take a small portfolio. You don't need 200 units, barely skimming by with $50 a month profit. You know, I don't brag about how many units I have. It's only the profitability of the unit matter. A small portfolio of actual profitable units is what this allows you to do. Okay, smaller portfolio, more profit. It helps you, gives you opportunities for preventive maintenance. And preventive maintenance reduce your cost to operate. You know, there's always a clog forming in your sewer line, in your drain line. By just getting in every 3 months and pouring biologically friendly drain cleaner, like Green Gobbler, I recommend, into, it only takes you like 3 minutes. You're always preventing a clog, and you don't have to call a plumber, right? And that's just one example. There's other things, but this whole idea of preventive maintenance is you don't have a disaster on your hands. So you may think that since you're not getting wet, you can lower your umbrella, even though it's raining outside. You got to keep your umbrella up, you know, and do these things that you put 1 penny in there and it saves you $300, $400. So this gives you the opportunity to reduce the cost of maintaining your properties, because that's so expensive. And it saves you time because you're making more money. You can easily have virtual assistants assist you out with these extended stay rentals. They change over every 4 months or so. You don't have to do it yourself. You don't have to do it yourself. There's plenty of money now because you just have entered the hospitality industry, right? You're way more profitable than a traditional landlord. Look at this. This is my $1,000 chart. I call it my $1,000 chart because I had one older landlord who he said, "Al, that was great. I saw that last chart and I took action." And he says, "I didn't get your course or your training, but it's definitely worth it." He had a lot of rentals. He says, "I switched them all over, and at least I can do is give you $1,000." So this is my $1,000 graph here. So watch up. So these are the ways you can use a rental property. You can leave it vacant, which might be the best thing to do. I was talking to Simon. He's talking about a predatory tenant. He would have been better off leaving it vacant. Simon, will you give me an amen on that?
Amen.
All right. So that's a type of use. Or you can be a traditional landlord. On average, national average, after you replace the water heater, after you maintain the property and everything, before taxes and depreciation, you can count on, if you're doing well, $100 a month after the paint job and maintaining it of income. And then another way you can use your rental property is just furnishing it. If you furnish it, you should be able to make about 30% more than a traditional landlord. So the next thing you can do is throw that turbocharger on. You can flex the terms. That means you can say, okay, I'll let someone stay here for a week. I can let someone stay here for a month. I'm breaking away from 1-year leases. You know, I can set the place up for pit bulls, and you flex all your terms, and that allows you to get paid more. That's what Airbnb does. It flexes how long someone can stay in a furnished rental. You can make 3 to 5 times more than a traditional landlord. Okay, $300 to $500 a month. That's what we want to quantify based on, so we can all compare across the board. And then you can do high-end corporate rentals if you're housing an NBA player or someone who's a CEO type. High-end corporate rentals, they go from $600 to $1,000 a profit per month easily. This is the same structure. This could be a 1 bed, 1 bath, can make all these different types of money by changing the use. Yeah, go ahead.
On mute. It's okay.
What's that now?
Okay.
It's on mute.
Oh, it's on mute.
You're not mute yet.
Oh, shoot.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So
Darn
So
it.
here's the big deal about this, because I call it, my plan A is corporate housing. Absolutely. That's how by changing the use, I was able to free myself out of the 9-to-5 job. Okay. I didn't go buy new property. I just changed the use of what I had and made all this extra cash flow. Okay. Let's focus just on these, my plan A, my plan B. If I can't do corporate housing like I want to, I can drop down and do something like Airbnb or something like that, a lower end. But what's the big deal? That's 300, 500 is not a lot of money. Let's take a look at this. If you're running a corporate housing company, for the sake of argument, we can use a business multiplier to come up with the value of your property. Oftentimes it's 3% or 3 times your gross, but I'm just kind of keep it down in case someone wants to argue with me. I want to use a 2.3 multiplier for the business of the corporate housing company that's operating in that unit. All right. So remember, we made an extra $1,000 from corporate housing. Well, that's times 12 for a year, times 2.3. That's a value of something you could actually sell that company for $27,000 by doing this. Same with flexible rentals. If you were just trying to do an Airbnb business and you set it up, more and more people are selling their portfolios. That's a new part of the industry of, hey, I've been running this Airbnb business for 5 years. How do I sell it? And how do I do it in a way that I can sell my reviews and social media and everything, right? So that's becoming something now, selling your portfolio. $500 times 12 to get the year, how much of net income per year. I'm not using gross numbers. Times the business multiplier, 2.3, that's $13,000 for doing this. Okay. So that's what the big deal is. And we're going to talk about that later. So here's the first insight I want to bring home to you guys, is that you can, instead of buying a property that you struggle with and you pay fees and you pay a real estate agent and you have to come up with hundreds and thousands of down payment, actually for you guys it might be millions of dollars to squeak out a little bit of cash flow. Just change how you operate what you got. Okay, bolt on the turbocharger, and it's almost with a set, maybe for furnishing this place, maybe a $7,000 investment. Okay, gosh, that's, you can even buy the permitting costs more than that, and this is what you could do immediately. Okay, here's the second insight. Was that okay? Did that help anybody? That first one? Change the use. Okay, it's just like adding on, doing a bathroom remodel. How much is a bathroom remodel? $10,000 or so for a bathroom remodel, or to add one on, or kitchen remodels. You do those to increase your cash flow. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just change the use of what you got. It's cheaper than that, cheaper and faster. Okay. All right. So the second one is how to instantly know that you can make enough cash flow. How am I doing on time? I better speed this up. How to instantly know, well, this is how you know that you can make enough to reach your goals is do this. Like McDonald's, they do their research, they do their homework, and they set up a new burger shop. And McDonald's comes along and says, look at their parking lot. Look at that drive-through line. There's people spilling out into the streets. Why don't we set up across the street? So they just springboard off of someone else's research, and they know without any risk that the business is going to work. So that's what I encourage you to do. These national hotels chains, these hotels that are extended stays, just look at their parking lot about 8 and 9 at night. You may be cursing because you can't park, because there's so many people there. All right. What we're doing is just taking people away from them and giving them more value. You know, they're Goliath, we're David. And one other reason, there's a lot of things why David was in this battle with this huge warrior who's been trained since birth. And David was a little shepherd boy, about 12 years old, going against him. One thing, he fought in a distance, and he didn't fight up close within the reach of the sword. And he used his advantage. Okay. And that's what you guys need to do. Use your advantage. This is what a generic extended stay hotel looks like. 2-burner stove and just real plain Jane. Can't open the windows. You're on near the freeway, and you're just disconnected from the community. And our advantage is that we could set something up in a residential space and make people feel like they're part of the neighborhood, like they belong. That's a human need. And we have the street knowledge to recommend things to them. We can set up a washer and dryer in there. They don't have to go out of their unit down to the basement to do their laundry, and we just give higher value at lower price. That's the advantage that you have. And that's why if you enter this market and you see that you have an extended stay hotel in that neighborhood of yours first, then you don't have any risk because everything's been done for you. They tell you how much they charge. You can see people in the parking lot. And those hotel chains, they know what they're doing. They know what people want. They know how much people want to pay. So they even tell you what level of furnishings to get. So this is not, like I like to say, this is not first grade where they tell you not to copy. They told us that all in school, don't copy, and all through junior high school, don't in college. But this is cash flow. This is real life. Copy is exactly the rules. All right. Don't take the risk. Don't spend money to prove that you're wrong. Just copy someone else who's already done it. And the proof is there. These essential workers are becoming more popular, and they use these extended stays, and they'll be happy, just like I was. They'll be happy to stay with you. Okay. Here's one thing technology I want to share with you as I'm trying to speed this up, but there's so much stuff I want to share with you guys. There's some external plumbing that I attached to my wall of one of my units. I could do this in any unit that a landlord agreed. It's just a screw hole and some ABS plumbing. And I add this air admittance valve. This allows air to come in so there's no vacuums. This is for my washing machine discharge. And then I'm using portable washer and dryers. Okay, this is like a 2 cubic foot washing machine, portable. And I just sit it there. And I run some PEX cold water, hot water over to it. And this dryer uses a regular outlet, just like this. You don't need 240 anymore volts. You just need 120 volts with these dryers. And now you got an irresistible offer. This is the difference here. This really is the difference of why people will always stay with you. Mercy, can I put you on the spot?
Sure thing.
If you had a really nice hotel that you had 6 months stay, you had a nice hotel that didn't have a washer and dryer in it,
Oh man.
and then you had a nice simple hotel apartment that was cheaper, that will allow you to actually make some money, and had a washer and dryer in it, where would you go?
Oh, I'll go to yours.
Is there any hesitation, or is
No,
this
that's
clear?
all. That's all that I need. I need to wash every other day.
Yeah, they cannot compete against us.
Mhm.
All we have to do is this. This is the turbocharger that will always keep you filled doing this type of thing. This is $600 worth of equipment. Okay, so my place normally will rent for $1,000, $1,100 unfurnished, traditional. I can switch it to corporate, furnish it, and put a washer and dryer in. A washer and dryer means it's corporate rental, standalone. And it's $1,000 per month difference. That's a 100% increase to my net income. All right, 100% increase, but it gets better than that. Let me move some things on the way. The turbocharger is the value of that business now is $30,000. I'm taking that business multiplier. It's even more if I use the cap rate, but I didn't want to use the cap rate because I don't want to argue that. I'm saying the business alone, we just created $30,000 from $600 worth of materials. That's what's a big deal. Okay, that's why if you're not getting the cash flow out of your place now, and you want to capture your wasted potential, do that. All right, secret number 3 is, how do you market these things? Is it just Airbnb? What's it all about? That's easy. Just Airbnb. And that's what folks said. And that's why they were selling their stuff on the sidewalks and through Craigslist, because they went out of business, because they didn't understand that you can't build your business on someone else's website. You need to have your own marketing chops, because if you want the profit, it's in the marketing. It's directly tied. You don't want to take on vacancies, and you want to be able to know how to market, how to increase your rates. It really looks like this. This is my trademark product of I call it bear marketing, but it's basically, you can think of it as a stool that has 3 legs. Offline techniques in the 3-dimensional world where all the business is. You got online techniques, and then you got social media. And people say, I don't want to do social media. I said, that's fine. I created a virtual assistant company to help you with that. But you need something so people can trust you, because no one wants to send you a couple thousand, $4,000, $6,000, and there's no information about you that they can verify. Okay, especially when you're doing it offline. That's why when you go to Amazon, you first thing you're looking for is reviews. How many star reviews are there? You're looking for social proof. That's what's needed in these days. You need social proof and great pictures. That's how you do business in 2021. Okay, so that's why social media is critical if you want to be able to do offline marketing, because that HR manager needs to research you before they go present you to their clients. Okay, so you got to be able to do offline marketing. A lot of people just built their business on Airbnb. I told them not to. I couldn't say, I told you so. So I kept my mouth shut during 2020. I didn't want to say that, but they toppled because it got stressed and they didn't know how to do extended stays. And Airbnb cut them off. People cut people off because they were going public. So that's how that happened. But it's really a 3-legged stool is the way to do it. That's the way I coach people on it. And a lot of I think all my clients stayed packed because essential workers were coming in 2020. So we didn't have any issues. So it's really this is the engine, the marketing engine, this is the goal. If you don't do Airbnb, what do? What's the strategy, Al? People will come to me after this training and they'll say, well, how do we market? All right, so I want to answer that question right straight as I can. Okay, this is what you do. You focus on getting found, which means you need to be found by Google. That means you need to have a whole backlink strategy and a real marketing strategy on your own. And then the goal is when people contact you, you got to be able to convert them into tenants. You got to know how to do that, what to say, how to change your voice, how to think about what they need. This is the hospitality industry, how to package that. Okay, and then you make them you delight them by giving them a lot of value, and then you ask them to leave you a review somewhere, a strategic review on Yelp and other places, and those have backlinks to your website, and that helps you get found, and then more people find you, and then you learn how to convert them, and then you delight them, and then you ask them to leave your strategic review, and it helps you get what? Found, and that's how you make the whole thing fly, regardless of what's happened in the industry. Okay, that's what I show folks. There's this great saying. It says, if you teach someone how to fish, you can feed them for the day, and that's what Airbnb does. They make it so easy. They do everything for you. They're brilliant. And then it goes on to say, if you teach someone how to fish, you feed them for a lifetime, and that is what unapologetically I do. I teach people how to fish, how to reduce the risk and get the cash flow so they can replace their job and pay for healthcare insurance and go on and give their gift to the world. That's what I unapologetically do. That's why I teach people. And I love the letters of resignation that come along with that. Here's Alicia. She was newly married. She rushed off the stage and I told her, hey, you already flip houses, you have a crew, you can get one of these things, extended stay rentals, going in 15 days. And she took that challenge and she got it done in 14 days. And she sent me this. She told me, yeah, she wanted to do it because she wanted passive income so she can focus on having a baby, being a full-time mom. And she sent me this thank you note saying, thank you for all you did, answering my questions. And I love that. She said we have 4 in 4 months. They had 4 of them going. They're making over $2,000 per month, which is not a lot of money, but it's definitely helps. You know, and they were using my 6-step process. I'll talk to you about that a little later. And here's a little girl on her 1-year birthday. I'm like, this is great. That really is what my life is about. Trying to do something, helping her mom be able to focus a little bit more on her and cover her side of the bills. That feels great. Okay, so that's the third secret is that you can get ahead with what you have. You don't have to be on the treadmill all the time. If you become a skillful marketer, you just gotta, I have it all laid out for you, how to market, and you be able to get a hotel size cash flow. That's what you want, or a near hotel size cash flow. That's what you want. That gives you the time freedom. Okay. So here we go. We got, you can make a lot more. I did this all on video. My business partner and I, we did this experiment. We put $5,000 in the bank account, and we just rented someone else's places and used that profit to go back to the bank. We didn't spend it. We kept living our life. I kept living off my Aplex. He kept with his legal lawyer job, and we just let the money reinvest. We didn't do it. And then month 4, we had enough money to go set up another furnished rental, and we talked to a landlord and set theirs up, set up one for us, and we let the profits go back to the bank. And then month 7, we had enough money. We did the same thing. We just took the money out of the bank and bought the furnishings and expanded by using other landlords' properties. And we kept doing that. It happens faster and faster and faster. We weren't not taking any money for ourselves. And then month 23, we actually did it faster than that. We could start paying ourselves $10,000 a month. Okay. That's $120,000 a year by using this process of knowing how to market and serving the extended stay rental industry. So if you can live off of that, you can retire in 23 months. I think all of you guys are, you're all 23 months away. Are you guys still there? Did I lose you guys in my share screen?
Maybe we can see it.
Okay, great. Here's real quick. This is inside my 2-bed, 2-bath, 2-bed, 1-bath apartment in that Aplex. I set it up for, I'm going after 2 coworkers, not a family, not a couple, but want 2 coworkers that want their own bedroom and they're on work assignment. That's why I show off, the ultimate home theater for one person. I'm not setting up pull-out sofas and packing people in. That's kind of the traditional Airbnb. That's how you can make a lot of money. Is the more people you get into the unit, the more you can charge. Extended stay rentals is the exact opposite on many fronts. It's the exact opposite of what traditional Airbnb is. It's lower occupancy is what it's at. Here, I stole some space. I punched a hole in the wall and I closed in the closet on the other side of this wall and I set up a portable washer and dryer, right? Like I talked to you guys before. Again, I'm going after 2 workers. And traditionally, I would rent this place for almost $1,200, $1,190 per month, unfurnished, regular rental in Sacramento, California. But as a corporate rental, I can rent out this for $22.97, a little bit more actually. And because I got a washer and dryer there and some basic IKEA furniture, that's $1,000 a month, over $1,100 a month difference. Just some basic stuff in marketing. That's a 93% increase without buying any additional properties, no additional down payments, no rents, no extra taxes, no anything. Just a decision, and I can make cash flow. Here's what I did. I put a barn door on it, and then I slide it over. I still got to put that handle on it, but I want you to see what the final thing looks like. You can't even see it. I can throw some artwork on it, and you won't even notice it. So as a business wise, again, with about $700 worth of equipment, and I created something that's worth $30,000. But I get the cash flow, I'm mostly cash flow, but I could sell the business for $30,000. It is this, I like this saying. It says that if eagles don't see other eagles fly, then their chances of reaching their potentials is greatly diminished. And I believe that that's why I congratulate you guys for hanging out with each other and showing each other what to do. And that's why I like sharing. And that's why I have a community together to help other people hang out with people who are doing extended stays. So here's my summary, is that secret one is that, hey, this corporate housing model works. It really does. And you know it works because there's an extended stay hotel in your neighborhood. That's how you tell. You drive the parking lot, and that's all the proof you really need. In marketing, that's the strategy, is to get found, learn how to talk to people and convert them directly without using any websites, and get them to leave a strategic review so that you can show up higher on the first page of Google. That is the goal. Let's see. I got some frequently asked questions. I'm going to cover them, and I'll take questions afterwards. But people ask me, does this work in rural areas? And I don't know. I know it works when there's an extended stay hotel. When a national brand has spent $100,000 doing research, I know it works there. Drive the parking lot. There's no questions about it. And then another question I get is, my city has ordinances. Will the system work? And except for San Francisco, 30 days and longer absolutely work. Corporate housing is still a legal business. It's kind of outlawed in San Francisco, but everywhere else is welcomed. Corporate housing is welcome, is a very established business. Now, third question is, how do you convince a landlord to allow you to use their property? And I covered that like step 6 in my course. But essentially, you're convincing them all the benefits, that you're the super tenant. They don't have to worry about landlord-tenant laws with you. They don't have to worry about those pro-tenant laws and things like that. They can get out of rent control, all those things that really appeals to a landlord. You're essentially a management company that's paying them. So they actually make more money with you. And I get all the time is, how do you find people that want an extended stay rental? And I kind of walk you guys through it. That was the engine. You have a real marketing plan. You talk to people in the 3-dimensional world and use your Facebook and just direct marketing strategies. There's tons of people. You guys already know people. You just weren't aware of it. It's just a Facebook post asking people if they want to stay at your 30-day and longer, and you'll fill it. Here's some roadblocks that people get hung up with, because I know I made it sound easy, but here's where people get hung up is they have problems setting up a corporate housing company, don't have the lease agreements, don't know the legal part of it. They get stuck with that. And then second roadblock is overcoming self-limiting beliefs and excuses. That is huge. That's probably the biggest thing. People are scared, and you got to address your self-conscious and get past that. So if you're not programming your self-conscious, someone else is. You got to take and handle that. And I work with people on that all the time. Even though I'm a nerdy engineer, I have a whole lot of limits I put on myself that are not real. And you need someone else to help you with that. And the roadblock number 3 is getting bookings regardless of Airbnb. If Airbnb kicks you off, which they are doing now, I get maybe every other week, I have someone tell me that they were cut off of Airbnb and they don't know why. Cut off as a guest and as a host, and it's a mess. So you need to be able to learn how to market for yourself, and I can help you with that. And the roadblock number 3 is getting funds together and private money. You know, there's tons of self-directed IRA money just sitting there. You just need to talk to people and understand how to use other people's self-directed IRAs, and you have all the money you need to fund whatever you need to do, especially if it pays back so quickly. There's a ton of small dollar IRAs out there that people forgot about, and I specialize in helping people tap into that so they can fund their thing, and not having a personal mentor that knows has done it before. I like the saying that you can learn how to climb Mount Everest on YouTube. You really can. Everything you need to know on YouTube. But do you want to rely on that when you actually go climb Mount Everest, or do you want someone who's done it before, knows all the tricks and all the tracks, and when the weather gets cold, what to do? That's the thing. So here's my question to you. And are you ready to capture more of your wasted potential, just like Alfred did? In doing so, it changes everything for you. I want to invite you to, I got a couple products I could tell you about. If you're interested in my coaching and training, go to call-al.com. And I'm going to take some calls today. You can book a 20-minute call with me between 1 and 3 today. You can just go to call-al.com. And I will stop my share now. That's between 1 and 3 today, call-al.com. How did I do it? I went too long.
It's fine though, Al. I got a couple of follow-up questions to you though. So number one, you said about marketing, and you show us the great picture, how many incoming traffic direction though. Can you expand, like, what is the ratio of your incoming traffic coming from? I know that Airbnb is one of them. Pretty sure that's starting to diminishing, but what is the majority of a portion? Is it coming from offline, online, social media, or is it coming from? You can break it down a little bit.
Well, people end up, they end up calling me off of I have an answering service now. They call the answering service and goes to a virtual assistant, but they'll find it on Furnish Finders or VRBO, and then there's something called billboard effect. That means if you're everywhere and you have your own website, well, people Google you and they see you, and then they want to book directly with you so they don't have to pay the fees. So you have to have a Google presence. If you guys are in front of your computer and you Googled corporate housing Sacramento, you'll see me twice, Easy Corporate Housing, twice on the first page. So I get a lot of phone call traffic because I'm twice on the first page of Google because I'm trying to be the all-time person. So that comes in, as well as all the basic websites. And then I got a ton of referrals now, which I like the best. Now I've been in business, Easy Corporate Housing, 6 years now. But to get going, you just offer $100 to your friends on Facebook. If they can talk to the person in the next cubicle who they know is staying on short-term assignment, and let them know about your place. And if they book, you're up and going. So there's all kinds of offline strategies, as well as there's tons of training programs. There's new homes being built. Anyone have a new house being built in the neighborhood? Is there housing construction going on? No? Okay. There's tons of people have sold their homes and are waiting to move in, and they're in extended stay hotels right now. That's a good example of in the real world, you show up, you pull on your stockings and you clean yourself up, and you go talk to one of the sales agents there, and they have people who just hate being in these extended stay hotels, will happily be at your place until their new home is being built. There's all kinds of strategies. I have a whole marketing school on this because it's just so vast of all the techniques to use.
Got it. Now, do you typically approach like corporate in the beginning of your marketing, like approach them and then like offering, like create like a win-win solution for their
you can
employee?
That's more advanced. I want you guys to think of Airbnb as a runway for your plane. You use the runway to get going, okay? You use the runway to land. You don't stay on the runway, but you need to get some operating. So that's the way I really use. Is quick. You want to get going quickly. Use Airbnb and let it be your safety net, not your whole life. Don't become their asset.
Got it. Thank you. We have a question here from Krishna. Does HOA put any restriction on corporate housing in general?
I don't like HOAs unless you're on the board, because they can change their mind if they eat something that doesn't agree with their stomach, and they call a meeting and change the rules. Okay. Because of that, is not my, I would steer you away. If you have to do that, then most they have their rules well spelled out. They'll tell you the minimum stay. They'll tell you maybe 30 days and less is not welcome, but 30 days and longer is okay. You know, they would have to ban month-to-month rentals, and that is a lot. That's beyond what people intend to do. They don't mean to ban month-to-month rental. That's the backbone of affordable housing. Okay, so, but HOAs can do that.
Great. Now I've got a couple more questions here. First one is from Kim and Mauricio. What type of zoning is required to run this type of business?
Well, this is a residential business, or residential for sure. You know, this is nothing new. Corporate housing has been around for maybe a century. It's just a residential use of the space. Okay. We're doing month-to-month rentals, kind of a hybrid of it. So you need the same license you need for a month-to-month landlording.
Got it. Travis is asking, like, what is the return on capital for the furnishing? Before you answer that, maybe my question is also going to be in the same kind of in that kind of themes. Like, what is the expected return of ROI that you're looking for before you spend on the furnishing?
Let me come at a different way so I can answer it the way that makes sense, because everyone's capital outlay is different. Everyone's the rents in Elk Grove is different than the rents in San Francisco. Okay. So let me answer it this way. You want to break even. You want to get all your initial expenses back, setup costs back within 7 months. Okay. So you can have 2 months of profit. So you take your expected net income, what's left after your income minus your expenses, that net income, and then you'll multiply by, say I want to break even in 6 months, you multiply by 6. Say you want to be profitable in 7 months, you multiply by 7. And then you use your own discipline to use that budget to buy your furnishing. You may have to use Facebook Marketplace to keep it in there. You're not going to be able to go and buy everything new. You're going to buy a new mattress, yeah, but you're going to have to be resourceful. But that's the thing, like a real business, you think about breaking even. You don't do what's on HGTV. They do not break even for a couple of years. And then oftentimes, if you're doing a regular Airbnb, you get burnt out and quit in a year and a half. So it takes you 2 years of the pay for all the little doodads and high-end linens and art and everything you bought because you saw it on HGTV, but you quit in a year and a half, you're worse off. You got to pay attention to your break even. Everything's about break even time, wherever it is.
Got it. Diane,
I'm pretty round up about that because I travel. When I travel, I stay. When I travel to speak, I stay at an Airbnb, and I talk to the host oftentimes because I want to debrief them, and I hear the horror stories of how much they spent, and I know what their profit margin is, and then you do the math. It's like you're not making you're making money, but it's going to take you maybe 2.5 years to pay this stuff off that you know. Why don't you become profitable and then reinvest if you want to upgrade? That's the way to go. All right, I'm sorry about that. I'll get off my soapbox.
No, you're good though. Diane, I have a question here. What percentage do you get in revenue, and does it differ within each property?
Say that again. I don't really understand the question.
Yeah, Diana, you want to unmute yourself and you can ask the question, or maybe you can elaborate more on that questions.
Yeah. There she is.
So since you don't own the property and you're like the master leaseholder, how does that work with you and the property owner in terms of like what they get and what you get?
Okay. So I do run this in my properties as well. I want to make sure that's clear because my profits are even higher and my depreciation shelter. So it absolutely, there's, at this point, it's inexcusable if you have a multifamily unit and you're not doing at least one of them in your, it's almost like negligent. Okay, so you got to do it in your own property because it's just so profitable. It's just at this point. Now, if you're master leasing, there's a number of ways you can do it. You can do a regular joint venture type of thing. You can do a standard lease agreement. The whole master leasing commercial triple net, you can do it that way. You can even do performance lease, which is they get a percentage of your revenue. So there's a number of ways of stacking that together. Lots of different tools on that. Patient equity, it's just like real estate. You're only limited with your creativity.
Okay, thank you.
Simon has a question also. How receptive are landlords to this business model, to this activity?
So, you know, I think it's like, I want to say it's like sales. You know, you're gonna get your share of no's. You may have to talk to 5 landlords before they say yes. You may have to talk to 10. I never heard more than 10. Because as you're talking to them, you're going to get better at explaining the benefits to them and packaging so that they win. You know, Simon, if I was to work inside of one of your units, I'm going to be inspecting it every 3 or 4 months and doing preventive maintenance on it and having it professionally cleaned. And you don't have to worry about this whole rent control laws that you're capped with. Actually, I need your place to look great to operate, Simon. I'm more on your side than a regular tenant. They might allow a leak to happen under the sink for a few months. I can't have that. I'm going to be right on it. So actually, you should consider me a super tenant. And once you explain it that way, then, and also Simon, if you allow me to work in out of one of your units, one of the new ones when you get it built, if you allow me to do that, then I'm going to send my clients to the local coffee shops, to the mom and pop coffee shops, local businesses. You will help stimulate the whole economy if you do that. You're going to be a hero. They're going to have a parade, Simon, with you as at the head of the parade. So that's how it goes.
Okay. Hopefully that answered the questions, Simon.
Yes, you did.
We got one more questions. Travis, you got a
Actually, I got like 3 questions. So if I'm only getting one, if I'm only getting one, let me ask the one question. Then if I'm only getting one more, I'm not trying to keep you here all day.
No, that's the reason I want to leave it up to you. So let you decide because I got multiple questions.
I got you. I'll ask the more important question. So where are you at? Here we go. So when you're talking to the landlords, are you offering a premium to market rent, or are you negotiating a longer term lease with a discount on rents that you're willing to pay? What's normally your approach there?
Well, Travis, I start off just being a regular tenant that they understand. Whatever they normally have. I don't want them to burn too many calories thinking about all the differences and everything and loopholes and stuff. I do have a big toolkit, and you mentioned some of the tools that if I need to sweeten the deal, but I definitely don't start with a lease concession or a longer lease. In fact, if you, they want to, like Travis, you and I just met.
Mm-hmm.
The longer we spend together, the more comfortable we'll be, the more you'll be willing to do a 2-year lease with me. So it's a real organic relationship that builds over time. You'll always be able to knock it out of the park with not trying to get married by first meeting.
Fair enough.
I thought you were going to ask me a real spin question, Travis.
Well, I got if you want some more, I got some more. It's not a problem.
I'm just a guest on the show, so I'm just a guest.
So
No
you,
problem.
you guys are neighbor in Sacramento. So you guys should spend a coffee together this afternoon, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey
Yeah,
guys.
I'll schedule the call. Thanks.
Yeah.
Man.
So got any questions though? Reach out to Al. I take advantage though. Al is a great person. Schedule a time. Call desk.al.com. Take advantage of his offer though. It's available from 1 to 3. You know, I do hope that you can see it that regardless any market that you are in, appreciating and not appreciating, now you get some additional tools because you know I'm just looking up at my property out of state and it's like a lot of extended stays, you know, surrounding the area. That might be one of the, you know, plan that we can go and convert them. I think there's a lot of opportunity that you can see. There are many ways that you can make a cash flow. So hope that today's session is not gonna give you better ammunition, better tools to prepare. Reach out to Al and then brainstorm, and then you know try to get his ideas by speaking with him, because there's a lot of ways that you can amplify your you know, number one, your net operating income for all those multifamily investors, and also increasing the business value by implementing corporate housing strategy here. Yeah. So before we adjourn, I want to share with you our next event here. Let me show you my screen. So next month we're gonna have Keith Blackport coming to us on the October 16th, rather. He's one of the commercial real estate syndicator. He's also domestic and international investor. You're going to talk about tax strategy for a real estate investor. I know a lot of people like, you know, not just only maximizing your cash flow, but it's also maximizing what you keep. And he's going to talk about the strategy, your corporation setup, and so forth. Really looking forward to see all of you there. Mercy, you're going to put the Zoom link in the chat box, and then also if you register for this, we're going to get the recording with also the PDF that of our presentation, and you're also going to get the link to sign up for next month meetup with Keith Blackport here. So again, thank you so much for spending your Saturday with us. Enjoy the rest of the day. It's a beautiful day out there, at least here in California. So, and stay safe and stay healthy. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.